Hey, what's up everybody? Jesse James Ayers, founder of Marketing Jiu-Jitsu. So I wanted to follow up today on a video that I made a few weeks ago when I attended the Home Show up in Evansville, Indiana. Now if you remember, my purpose in going up there was twofold. One was to see if any businesses were utilizing social media marketing, and secondly, I wanted to go around and see what businesses, what their unique selling proposition was, or their USP. In essence, why should I choose to do business with you versus each and every other option available to me? Now, if you can imagine, when you go to a home show, everything construction, home related, there's going to be a lot of the same generic things there. Fence people, home security people, painting people, so forth, so on, right? So essentially, I wanted to see what their unique selling proposition was. Why should I choose to do business with you versus each and every other option available to me? Now, before I go into the meat of this particular video, I wanted to talk to you about a short story, a true story that happened to a marketing mentor of mine by the name of Dan Kennedy. Back in the 80s, Dan Kennedy used to live in Phoenix, Arizona. And in one particular summer where it was shooting triple digits, it was like 108 degrees this one particular day or something like that, he happened to be home on the telephone in his kitchen talking to a client. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he starts hearing erratic banging on his door. Now, if you know mean old Dan, as Frank Kern would put it, if you know mean old Dan, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he's thinking somebody should be at school or at work, and if they're not, why are they knocking on my door? So he's not going to answer his door. 5 minutes later, the person climbs over the fence and starts banging on the sliding door, which is now behind Dan Kennedy. Now, Dan Kennedy doesn't know who it is or what's going on. He doesn't care because his back is facing to it. He continues to talk on the phone. There's a test of wills. Dan Kennedy starts talking louder to his client, and the door starts banging even more and more and more louder. After 2 minutes of this bantering, two rams butting heads, Dan Kennedy turns around to see that his entire backyard, except for the pool, is up in flames. Now, in a split second, that person, that annoying pest, that guy, he went from being, as I mentioned, an annoying pest to the most welcomed guest to ever grace the Kennedy household. Okay? In that same regard, that is how I feel like whenever I go out into this world and just do my everyday business or, spend time with my family. We are hit with so much marketing material, whether we're standing at our mailbox or at the post office or walking into a store, and we're hit with a bunch of marketing material, signs everywhere and whatnot. How it's important to find out how you as the business owner can get your message out there and go from annoying pest to the most welcome guest, to be ever put into the hands of the consumer. If it's a radio spot or if it's a TV commercial, you need to go from the most annoying pest to the most welcome guest. So, let me talk about a unique selling proposition and why it's important to utilize a unique selling proposition or a USP in all of your marketing, in all of your information gathering, in all of your strategic advertising, or whatever it is that you want to call it that you do. Now let me give you two models here. The first model, back in the day, the Monahan brothers needed to go to college. So they're going to college, but they don't have any money for scholarships. So they invest into a failing pizza business located at the edge of campus. And their plan was that brother number one would go to college while brother number two would stay and work on the business. And in the evenings, they would flip-flop. Brother number two would work on the business while brother number one would go to college. And that is how they would try to stay afloat and pay some bills and go to college. Well, after a while, the business was hemorrhaging, losing money more than making money. So brother number two bailed on brother number one, rode off into the sunset. Brother number one was determined to make this thing happen. And on the strength of finding his unique selling proposition for his business, Tom Monahan, after about 10 years of doing this, Tom Monahan became one of Fortune magazine's 1,000 most wealthiest men in the world. Okay, as a matter of fact, the unique selling proposition of his particular business was so great, was so strong, that in its heyday, if you went out in all of North America, not just where this business originated from, if you went out in all of North America, play word association, if you pulled 100 people off the streets and asked them, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when I say blank, 85 out of 100 people would say his proprietary business name. Okay? If you went out into the streets of your town only, where you're from, your county, your town, wherever it is that you serve your area, if you go out and you play word association with with people, what comes to your mind? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say blank? Are they saying your business name? Are they saying your proprietary name? Okay. So Tom Monahan, on the strength of this unique selling proposition, and I quote, fresh, hot pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less, comma, guaranteed. For the next 2 decades, Domino's Pizza dominated the pizza industry. Now, if you dissect that unique selling proposition, there's a couple different things that happens there. First of all, he's not trying to be everything to everybody. Okay, he doesn't talk about organic ingredients. He doesn't talk about sun-dried tomatoes grown on the east side of the mountain back in Italy, only grown on Tuesdays. He doesn't talk about he doesn't even talk about good pizza, right? It's fresh hot pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less. So hey, there's truth in advertising after all, right? So when you dissect that unique selling proposition, you notice that he's not trying to be everything to everybody. Okay, there's 52 ways to come up with a unique selling proposition that I know of. One of which is called a gap exploitation. So he found out that in his marketplace, he found out something that everybody else does bad. He exploits it and tries to hone in on that and do it good for them. Okay, he found out that when people got pizza back in the day, or when it came to pizza delivery, people either would never get it, it would come late, or it would come cold and stuck to the top of the box. All right? So he found that unique selling proposition, gap exploitation. He found out something that everybody was doing bad or wrong, honed in on it, and made it good for everybody. All right? The second model that I have here happens to be Schlitz beer. Now, I don't drink beer, so I don't know much about the lingo or the terminology, so you'll have to bear with me on this one. Schlitz beer, back in the day, I think it was either the late 20s or 30s, somewhere in there, when Schlitz beer was trying to make it big, they were fifth. They were fifth in the marketplace, okay? And they obviously wanted to make it to number one. Hey, everybody wants to make it to number one, right? Expert copywriter by the name of Claude Hopkins heads over to this particular brewery plant, gets a tour of the plant by the owner of the business, of Schlitz beer. The owner walks him through everything there. He tells him about where the water comes from, Lake Michigan back in the day. Where the water comes from, the fact that it goes through a 12-step refinery process, the special tools that are used to make this particular beer, so forth, so on. And at the end of the tour, Claude Hopkins is so impressed with how this is used, he asks the guy, well, how come you don't tell anybody this? And the owner says, well, this is how all beer is made. There's nothing special. Claude Hopkins, replies back and he says, well, the consumers don't know. Not everybody knows this. You need to go out there and educate them. In 6 months after that, through heavy advertising, through heavy educating the people on why they should drink Schlitz beer versus each and every other beer available to them, when they started educating them on where the water came from, on the 12-step refinery process, so forth, so on, there was like a whole laundry list of what made Schlitz beer so special. They went from number 5 to number 1 in the beer marketplace. Okay, so that's another way to find out what is the unique selling proposition, and that is simply educating the public on what they don't know. Now, let me say here that a unique selling proposition is not a slogan. It's not a tagline. Okay, when you think of the greatest companies in the world, Nike, just do it. Just do what? What am I supposed to do? Okay, that's a slogan. That's not a unique selling proposition. How about Staples? That was easy. What was easy? I don't know what in the heck they're trying to get across to me as to, why I should go into their store whenever I see those commercials or hear those radio spots. Staples, that was easy. Nike, just do it. Okay? On the other hand, Walmart, lowest prices guaranteed, or, always low prices. You know what you're going to be getting when you walk into Walmart, okay? They will come, Walmart's unique selling proposition competes on the price structure, okay? Now, like I said, it's not a slogan, it's not a tagline, it's not something where, on the bottom of a business card you put, we care, or, excellence, serving you with excellence. Who cares about that, all right? Now, the last model is pretty much my own. My business is separated into 3 specific entities. One is mobile marketing, social media marketing, and the other is business development, business growth. As a matter of fact, what you're seeing here, what you're seeing and hearing here, this is part of business growth, how to grow a business, okay? Finding out a unique selling proposition. Now, when I talk to people about simply growing a business, and they ask me, what is it that you do? I tell them, I guarantee an 18 to 89% increase in 90 days or less, all without spending an extra dime in advertising, or I will work for you for free until you can at least recoup your initial investment. That's my unique selling proposition. Okay, it tells you, I guarantee that you will grow your business, and I'm specific. I'm not using vague generalities, I'm using specifics. 18 to 89% in 90 days, and I'm telling them, without spending an extra dime in advertising, or I will work for you for free until you can at least recoup your initial investment. So I'm guaranteeing something, I'm giving you specifics, I'm giving you a timeline of when this can happen, and I'm trying to knock off some worry by saying if it doesn't work, I will work for you for free until you can at least recoup your initial investment. So there you go. That's my unique selling proposition for my business building, my business growth development side of my entire marketing business that I have. So your unique selling proposition should do something of the same. It should be so hard hitting, teeth, gnawing into it, so that when you tell somebody, when you walk into a party, a Christmas party, a New Year's Eve party, a birthday party, and people ask you, what is it that you do? You want to be able to tell them your unique selling proposition, and this is how you know it works. When they look at you all puppy dog faced, with their head cocked saying, really? How do you do that? Then you know you've got them. That is why you need to come up with a unique selling proposition. You want somebody to be able to choose to do business with you versus each and every other option available to them. So anyway, I hope this particular video helped you at least some way, spark some interest in your mind, being able to explain to you what a unique selling proposition is. Look out for more videos that I'm going to have on this topic and on more topics on how your business could grow through the use of social media marketing and mobile marketing. Again, this is Jesse James Ayers of Marketing Jiu-Jitsu. I'll see you in the future. Thank you.